The Grey Havens Hour, a channel for those who love Tolkien's world and long to glimpse the deeper beauty beneath its tales. Welcome to the Grey Havens Hour, where we pause in the quiet corners of Middle-earth and look for the light that lingers even as the world grows dim. In Tolkien's legendarium, light never lasts. Lothlorien will fade, the Elves will sail, Númenor will fall beneath the sea. Even Gandalf, the wisest of the wise, must leave the world he helped to save. But Tolkien never meant this fading to be despair. He saw it as part of a greater design, a rhythm of giving and relinquishing that mirrors both grace and mortality. In this reflection, we'll explore the downfall of Númenor and the peril of clinging to life, Gandalf's quiet departure and the humility of purpose fulfilled. Tolkien's vision of eucatastrophe, joy beyond the ending, the gift of men, mortality as freedom, and the passing of light through every age. Because to understand Tolkien's beauty, we must learn what he understood so well, that everything we love is lent to us for a time, and that letting go can be an act of faith. The tragedy of Númenor is one of Tolkien's most powerful meditations on the cost of refusing to let go. The faithful Edain are rewarded with an island set apart, Númenor, midway between Middle-earth and the Undying Lands. Its people are noble, long-lived, wise, and beloved by the Eldar. But over time, their hearts change. Tolkien writes how the fear of death began to gnaw their hearts, and they envied the undying life of the Eldar. In letter 131, he explains this as the shadow upon their hearts, the refusal of mortality, the will to possess life unending in the world. They seek deeper lore, then mastery of the seas, and finally to grasp what is not given, to overthrow death itself. Ar-Pharazôn sails west in defiance of the ban of the Valar, seeking to seize the Undying Lands, not understanding that those lands do not bestow immortality. Then Ilúvatar intervenes. The world was changed. The seas swallowed Númenor, and that proud realm was no more. Númenor's tragedy is not merely that a great kingdom fell, it is that its people could not accept change. They grasped the light, and by grasping, they lost it. Tolkien shows that when beauty or life is treated as a possession, it turns to ash. In his world, it is not a flaw, it is the way light remains pure. In contrast to Númenor's grasping, Gandalf shows the humility of release. He arrives not in splendour, but in weakness, an old man in grey. He is Olorin, the Maiar, who pitied the sorrows of the children of Ilúvatar. Sent by the Valar, his charge is to advise and strengthen, never to rule. Letter 156 says the Istari was sent to train, advise, instruct, arouse hearts and wills. That restraint defines Gandalf's journey. He bears great power, yet leads by persuasion. And when Sauron falls, he does not stay to govern or bask in victory. At the Grey Havens he says, "Well, here at last, dear friends, on the shores of the sea, comes the end of our fellowship in Middle-earth. Go in peace. I will not say, do not weep, for not all tears are an evil." No triumphal cry, only peace. If Númenor presents a clenched fist, Gandalf has an open hand. True strength is the willingness to set it down. When Tolkien coined the word eucatastrophe, he wasn't describing a convenient twist of fate. he was naming a pattern woven into the fabric of creation. The sudden, piercing turn from sorrow to joy, when all seemed lost and then is miraculously redeemed. It is the sudden joyous turn in a story that pierces you with a joy that brings tears, he wrote in On Fairy Stories. It is the mark of a good fairy story, of the kind that reflects the inner consistency of reality. That phrase means the great stories of Middle-earth are not escapist illusions. They mirror the moral law of Tolkien's universe. That grace does not erase grief, but transforms it. In letter 89, he writes, "The birth of Christ is the eucatastrophe of man's history. The resurrection is the eucatastrophe of the story of the incarnation. This story begins and ends in joy." The moment when divine mercy turns tragedy inside out. You see it when Galadriel says, "I will diminish and go into the west." Her fading is not defeat but redemption. She lets go of power and finds peace. You see it when Frodo sails to the Undying Lands, not to escape life, but to seek healing beyond the wounds that Middle-earth cannot mend. You see it in Sam, who looks up from the ashen plain of Mordor and sees a single white star glimmering through the smog. The shadow was only a small and passing thing. There was light and high beauty forever beyond its reach. That moment, perhaps more than any other, is Tolkien's theology in miniature. It is not denial of suffering, it is grace breaking through it. The ring is destroyed, not through might, but through mercy. Gollum's fall, pitiful and absurd, becomes the very instrument of salvation. Evil collapses on itself, and out of its ruin comes renewal. Tolkien called this joy beyond the walls of the world, a joy that pierces, not because it ignores pain, but because it redeems it. When light fades, it is not destroyed. It is gathered into something greater and made eternal. Every fading light in Tolkien's world is a foreshadowing of dawn. Death, to Tolkien, is not the ultimate evil. It is the ultimate release. In the Silmarillion, Ilúvatar gives to men the gift, mortality, a release from the circles of the world when their part is done. The Elves, by contrast, are bound to ardour for as long as it endures. They do not die by age. They fade with the world, carrying all its sorrows. So the gift of men is mercy disguised as ending, a promise that no story ends in futility, that each life is gathered into a larger song. In the Athrabeth Finrod a Andreth, Tolkien points towards a hope beyond Arda's limits. Not escape, but renewal and healing beyond the world's weariness. To let go, then, is not to cease, it is to trust. The end of one road is the beginning of the other. From the beginning, Tolkien's light moves through the ages, never owned, always given. First, the two trees of Valinor, Telperion and Laurelin. Then, their radiance captured in the Silmarils, and one borne into the sky by Eärendil, shining as the evening star. Later, Galadriel draws that same light into the phial and gives it to Frodo. May it be a light to you in dark places, when all other lights go out. The light passes from tree to jewel to star to phial, changing form, never ceasing. It is Tolkien's living symbol. No light is lost, it is transformed. Letting go is not abandonment, it is continuity. To release something is to allow it to shine elsewhere. Everything in Tolkien's world is touched by this truth. To love truly is to be willing to let go. The Elves let go of Middle-earth. Gandalf lets go of power. Aragorn lets go of life. And each act of release becomes a kind of grace. At the end of his days, Aragorn says to Arwen, "Behold, we are not bound forever to the circles of the world, and beyond them is more than memory." This is the heart of Tolkien's wisdom, that love, faith and light are never truly lost. They only change hands. So when the light fades, in stories or in life, remember, fading is not the end of the song. It is the note that allows the next to begin. Thank you for walking this road with me. Until we meet again on the far shores, may your own light endure, even as the world grows dim.